Not really.
It wasn't?
Nah, I ain't never done it before, but it was
Oh,
cool.
all right, that's cool. All right, so listen, welcome you to the show, man. Everybody from You Better Not Lie podcast, we have a legendary NFL retired football Hall of Famer in the building. You know what I mean? Welcome to You Better Not Lie podcast, man. How you feeling?
I'm good, brother. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay, man. But listen, I do something when I bring anybody on my show. I give you your flowers while you can smell them, man. Can I cook?
Yeah, go for it, brother. I got you.
All right,
Got it.
okay, cool. All right, Hugh Douglas is an American former professional football player who was a defensive end in the NFL for the Philadelphia Eagles, New York Jets, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is that correct?
Yeah, you don't have to count that last Jaguars year though. That didn't count.
Okay, all right, cool. He was named defensive rookie of the year his first year in the NFL in 1995, hailing out of the mean streets of Mansfield, Ohio. He was a first team All Pro in 2000, second team All Pro in 2002, three-time Pro Bowl in 2000, all the way to 2002, and now a Hall of Famer for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's also a Sigma Blue 5, correct?
Yeah, you got it.
All right, cool. And you know what I mean? I want to shout out Shelby from Indigo Dispensary for lining us up, man.
Yeah, man. Shelby did a good job with that, man. You know,
Right.
she's been helping me out a lot, especially in this new space that I'm in.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later. But what I want to know is for the people that may not, because I have a young audience as well, and they may not know everything about you. Take
Hmm.
me back to a young Hugh Douglas in Mansfield, Ohio. Two-part question. How did you grow up there, and did you have both parents?
Yes, I did have both parents, man. I was fortunate enough to grow up with both of my parents, my pops and my mom. Unfortunately, my pops is not here anymore. Mansfield is a small town, man. It's real small. That's why
Okay.
I kind of laugh when you talked about the mean streets of Mansfield, Ohio. It was more like Amish country. You know, if anybody know
Okay.
anything about Ohio, you know about being here in Pennsylvania. It's a
Right.
lot of Amish in Pennsylvania. There's also a lot of Amish in Ohio, especially around the parts that I grew up in. So it wasn't. I would say it was more rural than anything.
Okay.
It wasn't a city.
And how
So yeah,
far
that's
were you
how
from
it was. Huh?
How far was it from Cleveland?
You know, we were 45 minutes from Cleveland and Columbus. So we were like right in the middle.
Okay. So you in Mansfield, you said it was more like a rural town, Amish. Kind of everybody getting it off the land. Everybody know each other. It's kind of like
Yeah.
town. So you didn't endure any like hardships, violence, anything going on.
I
Like
mean,
that.
it was violence, but it's not to the scale of say like a major city. You know, you
Okay.
had, you know, as a matter of fact, we have something that people might be familiar with the Mansfield Reformatory. It's called
Okay.
Manson.
Okay.
In fact, they shot Shawshank there at the old reformatory, and then they put a
Wow.
new one up there. Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit of Mansfield history for you. So yeah, it wasn't. It was most people know Mansfield because that's what a reformatory was.
Okay. I got you. All right. So man, did you play any other sports besides football growing up?
No, that was about it. I just played football. I liked the game of football. I liked getting after the quarterback, and that's where it kind of started at for me at Mansfield Senior High School.
Okay. Who introduced you to football? Who put it in your hands?
You know what? Really, I played football to stay out of trouble. You
Okay.
know, growing up in a small town wasn't a whole lot to do, so I kind of did it because it was more so just to stay out of trouble
Okay.
and just to try to get some kind of focus. You know, when you're young and running around in a small town, ain't a whole lot to do. So it was more so so I could focus a little bit.
Okay, so you don't have any was your father, mother, uncles, cousins athletes? Like did it get passed?
No, not at all. My dad used to box, but as far as like somebody football lineage in my family, no, not at all. I just like playing the game, and I kind of gravitated towards that,
Okay.
and that's kind of how it went for me.
All right, no problem. All right, so what type of player were you in high school, man? Like did you kind of like make your bones there?
Yeah, well, when I played, it was really my coach, Coach Gilbert. Shout out to Coach Gilbert,
Okay.
Steve Gilbert. They really didn't know where to play me, so they put me at the linebacker spot.
Right.
So, when I played in high school, it was more, you had to drop back in coverage and do things that linebackers did, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get after the quarterback because in my mind, if I got to the quarterback before he threw the ball, then I ain't got to do all that dropping
Right.
back. coverage and things like that. So it kind of just naturally turned into me turning it into a pass rusher.
Okay, all right, that's what's up. And why did you choose Central University to start your career, like as a college player? Was that one of the only schools reaching out? And another question is, was that D1 or D2?
No, I was D2, and at the time it was the closest HBCU that I could go to. It was the only one up north because when you talk about historical Black colleges and universities, most of them are down south.
Right.
I had a daughter that went to Alabama State. She went to Alabama State, and that was down south. So Central State was the closest HBCU that I could go to. Wilberforce is also there, but Wilberforce didn't have a football team. So I chose Central State University.
I want to shout you out too because I also went to a HBCU. I went to Delaware State University in Dover.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Delaware doing well now. Shout out to Coach Jackson. He's got
yeah.
he got that on the right path.
Right. Oh, I wanted to tell you, don't hang up. I'm a Cowboys fan.
Oh man, come on, dog. Hey, you know what? You got time to get right. We got
Yeah,
time
listen,
to
listen.
get shows over
I
to get
blame
right.
my grandfather though. I grew up in Trenton, New Jersey, but my grandfather, he's never been to Texas in his life, but he loved Tony Dorsett. And he used to sit me on his lap, no diddy, and drink an old Milwaukee, and we watched the game. He told me,
No, it is
"Hey,
crazy.
sorry, son." And I said, you know what? And God rest his soul, I can't let him down, man. I just been rooting for these
No, I
guys.
get that. Respect,
Yeah,
respect.
I blame him, man. But at the end of the day, I also want to big up Sean Andrews, man. I used to be in the entertainment business, and Sean Andrews from the Eagles, he actually invested in me a couple of years, about 2007, 2008.
Okay, Big Onesie. We used to call him Big Onesie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so I think he was called the Big Kid too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He
Yeah,
was.
yeah. But so I definitely got some history with some Eagles players, whether it's Sean Andrews, Trotter. We'll get to the Trotter situation later. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
Okay.
okay, so I wanted to ask you, when I look back at your career, 42 sacks in 32 games, 13 multiple sack games to help your team to the NAIA National Championship as a sophomore in college, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, these are incredible stats for a young kid in a D2 school. Like, is that the reason why you got noticed to go to the NFL because you was putting up so many crazy numbers?
Yeah, man, that's what it was. And at Central State back in the day when I played, we were a pretty good football team. We
Right.
played some pretty good schools, you
Okay.
know, but it was some guys that paved the way before me. I got to give a shout out to Vince Buck. Vince Buck
Nice.
played for the New Orleans Saints. He was there. He played corner. Got to give a big shout out to Eric Williams, man, because Eric Williams was like the guy that really groomed me
Okay.
and made me the player that I was, man, because, he used to beat me up at practice all the time. And I said, that's not going to happen anymore. So, I got
Okay.
to give him a big shout out. But those were the two guys that really, really paved the way and had the scouts coming to my school looking at me.
Okay. So other than like when the scouts was coming, was it like, did you know off top, like, hey, I may not finish my whole 4 years, or I'm gonna go, or did you go early, or did you finish out your whole entire
I
career?
didn't finish. I didn't know. I mean, I would hear rumors, but I didn't know. I didn't
Uh,
know. I had a lot going on my last year there, so I didn't know how I was going to shake out. So fortunate enough for me, I got drafted by the New York Jets,
nice.
and it kind of the 16th overall pick in 1995. So it just kind of worked out for me.
Nice. Okay, so how did it feel to go first round for one, and what did you do with your first check?
Oh man, when I got drafted, I was like, damn, I can't believe this happened.
Right.
And I went and bought a 1995 Chevrolet Impala SS.
Sheesh. Now
Yeah,
tell
Joe,
me,
that straight to
did
the
you
free.
soup it up?
No, it was just straight factory. Back then,
Okay.
we wasn't doing a whole bunch of souping up because you got to remember that's when you used to have the brick phones, and
Right.
stuff
Right.
like that. So we only had like 18-inch wheels. It didn't really get into customized cars till
Right.
about what 98, 2000. That's when that started to really get big.
Okay. All right. So did you do anything for your parents at that time when you got that money? Like, did you buy it in a big house? Did you go out and get the
Oh
mansion?
yeah, you know that you do what we all do when we get that kind of bread, man.
Right.
We go buy my dad a house, make sure they're straight, get a couple cars,
Right.
and then you realize that money you got from your draft, that goes kind of quick when you starting to buy stuff straight cash. So
Right.
that was a lesson that I learned, and then I started to pull back a little bit, and started to really look at it and say, hey, You know, it's cool to buy people gifts and everything, but you got to
Right.
kind of slow down.
Did you do any investments?
As far as investment, just play the stock market, learn the stock market at like everybody else does, because
Okay.
that when you have that type of money, that's what you're told to do.
Right.
You know, just let your money work for you. And as I progressed through my years in the NFL, started to learn more about stocks and bonds,
Right.
and just kind of played it that way. And you know, slow money makes more money.
Okay. All right. So once you arrive in the NFL, like you come from being a star in college, star in high school. Is the transition smooth for you, or are you running into guys that's just as talented as you? Is hard for you in the beginning, or do you make a smooth transition?
Well, it wasn't smooth because when I got drafted by the Jets, I went to a small school. I was a smaller defensive end at the time,
Right.
and a lot of people didn't know if I could play or not. I remember the first couple weeks in New York. You know, I remember being at training camp and guys looking at me sideways because they was like, "Who is this cat?" You know,
Right.
weighed 265 pounds, was like 6'1", and I'm going against guys like that are like 6'6". You
Yeah.
know, went to USC, you know, Northwestern and places like that. So it was a little bit of a tough transition, but I had a chip on my shoulder, so it didn't bother me too much.
Okay. All right. That's good. All right. So with all the good things that come with being an NFL athlete, whether you're in the NBA, anything, um, what's the downside of being a professional athlete with the fame, the traveling, not seeing your family, the wear and tear on your body, concussions, everything? Like, what's other than the things that I've named? What would you say the downside of fame and fortune?
We're just trying to figure out who's real. You know, I mean, just trying to figure out who's got your genuine interest in mind, and separating those folks from the ones that's trying to just get what they can from you, grifters,
Right.
if you will. So that
Right.
was kind of tough. But the thing that I kept faith in God, and I just kind of leaned on my family a lot, man. The ones that were there for me before I made it to the pros, and the ones that I met after I was at the pros that had my best interest in mind.
Okay. And how did you feel when you see the Eagles finally win a Super Bowl like in this era? Like how did you
Oh,
feel?
man. Oh, you talk about a great feeling, man. Because you know we were kind of the guys that we went to the Super Bowl. My group, my era,
Right.
Donovan McNabb and those guys. Uh, we didn't get the job done, so we felt bad about that, man. But to see, Jason Kelsey and those guys get it done, Carson Wentz, Nick Foles. I mean, man, it was one of the greatest feelings in the world. As a matter of fact, me and my son, after they won the Super Bowl, we rolled up for the parade.
Okay. I
We
was
came to
gonna ask
the
you,
parade, man.
as a Hall of Famer, do you get to celebrate them? Do they roll the red carpet out, being that
Well,
you
you know what,
put your
man?
pain, your work in?
For me, man, personally, I'm happy to be a part of the organization.
Right.
I'm happy to be a part of something that I feel like we paved the way for them to do what they did. But that's their championship, man.
Right.
That's their accolades. I'm just happy to be a part of it. But I like to see, the young guys do their thing, like Jalen Hurts. I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts, man. Being on the air every day, we get to talk about Jalen every day, and
Right.
every day somebody says something about him, even though he's accomplished so much in his short time in the NFL. Somebody
Right.
always has something to say. And, it's one of those things where you don't appreciate the contributions that those guys have until they're gone.
Right.
So it's part of it. But as far as like, being a part of the Eagles and wishing them the best, I mean, I'm a part of that. I'll forever be a part of that legacy. So I take pride in knowing that I was a part of a first class organization.
Nice. All right, so let me ask you this question. Do you think that you guys coming up had it harder in college than some of the younger talent that's out now? Like, there's things going on like the portal and all these type of things where if you don't like
Yeah.
school, you can transfer and you can get like do you feel like it was harder for you guys than it is for the younger college football player today?
Well, I went to a small school, so that whole NIL, getting money, I've never experienced that, and I'm not mad at those guys who did go to the big schools. The only
Right.
the only difference that I see now is that it's all above board for the most part. I believe that we used to talk about some guys when we were in the pros took a pay cut when they
Right.
came to the NFL. When you
Right.
talk about some of the bigger schools. We don't have to name them. We all know what they are. So now it's just the wild, wild west. So guys that went to bigger schools, they probably, I'm pretty sure they did have it better than I did. But it's one of those things where you can't really worry about that. You gotta kind of play the hand that you were dealt.
That's true. Okay, all right. So listen, after a successful career with the Eagles, I believe they let you go in 2004, and
Mm-hmm.
they offered you the Goodwill Ambassador office
Yeah,
position.
I used to call myself the badasseter. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what the hell was that position?
You know what it was, man? It was, I guess, because of the sacrifice that I made to go to the Super Bowl. I
Right.
guess they wanted me to stay around a little bit, and to be honest, that helped springboard me into doing radio here in Philadelphia.
Okay.
So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I got to be around the team because a lot of times when you retire from playing football, as long as I played, the transition is tough.
Right.
But being able to still be around the guys and be in the city and everything, that made that an easier transition for me.
Okay. With the good, it's always the bad. This is You Better Not Lie. So we did see that throughout your entire career, you have a spotless career besides two blemishes. That's it. That's really
Mhm.
good for as long as you've been in the NFL. Of course, the infamous fight with Terrell Owens, T.O., and
Yeah, yeah,
the issue with on the Numbers Never Lie show where unfortunately they had
yeah,
you.
Michael Smith. Yeah,
Yeah. So just for the new fans that don't know you and maybe a little younger, the TO fight, were you guys able to reconcile and move past that?
yeah, man. That was it's funny because I got a chance to see T.O. a couple weeks ago, right?
Right.
And, and we laughed about the fact that no matter how that story is told, either he whooped my ass or I whooped his ass, and it never happened the way that it was reported.
Okay.
But that's how stories go. You talk about something that would happen 20 years ago.
Right.
So both admitted that we played our part. It was wrong, and we kind of buried the hatchet as far as that's concerned.
That's nice.
Now Michael Smith,
Right.
I can't stand that motherfucker. And if you ever seen him, it might be on site, but
Right. Right.
a little older now. I'm trying to be a little bit more mature. But yeah, he did some hoe shit. That was some
Right.
real hoe shit that he
Right.
did, and he's a pussy for that.
Right.
And so, but man, you live and learn. Because like I've always said, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So it's
That's
all
true.
good.
That's true. Yeah. So like at the end of the day, because I was doing my research and I said, wow, like for a guy in the NFL as big as you are, 6'2", 265, whatever, I said for him to only have two incidents, that ain't bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, hey, there's
'Cause-
been a few, but you kind of just try to rise above all that, man, and just try to keep it even keel.
Okay, no problem. All right, so you've had a successful career in football, but now you made the transition to a radio host and studio analyst. You work for places like ESPN, WTXF, Sports Center, First Take, 92.9 in Atlanta, in which you did for almost 8, 9 years, correct?
Yeah, man, was in the A for a long time, man. Miss
So-
Atlanta, but, for a guy, I look at it like this: for a guy who never played
right,
sports in Atlanta, to be able to host one of the number one morning shows in Atlanta for as long as I did, I think that's pretty good. So I
yeah,
had a great time in the A. The people of Atlanta, when I got fired from ESPN, they embraced me. So it was
right.
really cool.
Now that was sports radio as well, right? 92.9.
Yeah,
And did you
yeah,
cover like Atlanta Falcons and all of that stuff? You covered
all of that.
every.
Like a lot of college football, man. Did a lot of college football.
Okay. All right. So tell me now you ended up on 94.1 WIP. How did you get that gig?
You know what? I cut my teeth here in Philadelphia first and foremost on
Okay.
94. So
Right.
it was one of those things where opportunity came up. Angelo Cataldi was the guy that brought me into radio. He was going to retire, and they were looking to reshuffle the lineup a little bit. I was
Right.
working at the sister station in Atlanta, 92.9 The Game, and they asked me would I have any interest to come back to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I played here. I played in Philadelphia. I know the city.
Right.
And to me, it was a no-brainer coming back home.
Right. I'm not gonna lie. When I told people I was gonna interview you, everybody said, all the Eagles fans said, "Man, I listen to Hugh every morning from 10. I think it's 10 to 2, correct?"
Yeah, it is.
Die hard Eagles fans said they know your voice. They jump in the car, they turn it right on. They just like, yo, man, tell
And
him I
tell him
up.
appreciate it. For all those that say that, man, I appreciate that. It means a lot
Right.
to me.
I want you to shout out. My accountant name is Mitchell Rosenberg. He is a diehard Eagles fan.
Mitchell Rosenberg. Shout out to Mitchell Rosenberg, man.
Yo, I'm gonna send him this clip and he's gonna pass out. Especially you being a Hall of Famer too, man. So, all right. So listen, we're gonna switch gears. What was the motivation to for you to get into the cannabis business, man? Like being a NFL guy, going to radio, and then now here we are. We with cannabis. What is it? 5'3"?
Yeah. HD 53, man. Hugh Douglas and Company 53. For me, basically, it was for pain management because, like you say, played NFL for 10 years. And a lot of times when you retire, you had those aches and pains that just don't go away.
Right.
So, I just kind of got tired of taking opioids all the time, man, taking pain medication and everything. And to be honest, I was introduced to cannabis by Kyle Turley. I don't know if you remember that name. Kyle Turley was an offensive lineman that played for the Saints, man. And I remember, like, we were talking, and I think it was on social media, and we were talking about pain management and everything. And he kind of introduced me to cannabis.
Right.
And it was one of those things where I used it. I used the gummies for medicinal purposes and things like that in Atlanta. And then when I came back to Philadelphia, I didn't realize that being in Atlanta for as long as I was there, and then coming back to Philadelphia, I used to have anxiety attacks, man, and being around a crowd of people because in Atlanta it's a little bit more laid back.
Right.
So I came back to Philadelphia, had a whole bunch of anxiety attacks, so I kind of got back on the gummies again because they helped me relax. They just helped me stay calm, being in those environments because I love Eagle fans, but sometimes, going to some of these events and rabid Eagle fans, it could be a little overwhelming. So I took it more to kind of relax a little bit, man. So that was really the goal for pain management and to just kind of calm me down a little bit.
Okay, was it a strenuous process to like launch your brand, sit down with the growers, and what separates your brand from all the other brands out there?
Well, I think what separates the brand is I got to give a shout out to my man Bill Watts. Bill Watts is the guy that kind of, since I've been in this space, brought me into this business. He knows a lot about cannabis, and we kind of sat down and we talked about some of the things that I want to do as far as cannabis is concerned.
Right.
We're really scratching the surface of some of the things we want to do, but it's about trying to find the best quality bud that we possibly can and give it to the people because if I'm smoking it, I want people to enjoy it too. That's why, when we talk about Hugh Douglas and Company Cannabis, we want feedback, man. We want feedback. We want to let people know, or we want people to tell us what they like, what they don't like, and things of that nature. Because the one thing that I've noticed, especially being a celebrity in this space,
yes,
is that there are not a lot of celebrities that are actually a part of the brand, right? So I tell Bill all the time, I'm like, hey, man, I want to be there when we go pick the strains. I want to learn about the strains. I want to see what the growers are doing, how they're growing their cannabis, especially here in Jersey, because the weed in Jersey is different than the weed in Cali.
For
so
sure.
the way that it's cultivated, man, you
Right.
really have to go out and you got to have somebody in your corner that really, really knows about the marijuana here and how it's grown, and just have a relationship with the growers here in this area, man, because I hear a lot of times people talk about some of the cannabis here is not that great.
Right.
So for me to put my name on something, it has to be good, man. It really does.
So has Gilly the kid tested it yet? Because I know
Yeah, man, Gilly, hey, listen, let me tell you, being in this space, you got to go to Gilly, man. You got to go to Gilly. As a matter of fact, my cousin Omar, shout out to Omar, that's my business partner.
Right.
We went to Gilly, man. We brought him a bag.
Right.
And he sat down and he smoked it. He's like, hey, he gave it his blessing.
Right.
So, I appreciate that because, Gilly, that dude, man, and that's my dog.
And Gilly gonna tell you,
yeah.
he gonna say Jersey got some doo-doo.
Yeah, and so when Gilly blessed it, it was all good. So that's my dog, man, for real.
All right, so let me ask you this. I see that you are out. You did link with Indigo. Like, what is that a partnership, or that was just more like that was just the launch place, or like what's going on?
Oh no, that's definitely a partnership, man. Shout out to Nate and Michael, and shout out to my man Joe.
And
Joe's a
Shelby,
big
of course.
fan, man. Yeah, man. And they really helped us guide us through this space that we're in. And the thing that we're doing now, man, we're just trying to figure out the next move.
Okay.
You know, how are we going to make this brand grow? How are we going to get some more good weed to all these people here in the Jersey, Philadelphia, the tri-state area, I should say.
Right.
And just try to make this brand one of the top brands in this area, man. That's what we're trying to do.
So is your goal to go to different dispensaries for like a wholesale thing? Like, hey, this is what we got, get it in stores or consignment?
That's the goal. That's the goal. But I think the most important thing that we're doing right now, man, because you know, people that smoke marijuana is a culture, right? And they want to know that you know just as much as they do. You know, and they want to know that you care about the smoke just as much as they do. And they want to ask you about the terpenes and things of that nature. Now, what I want to smoke is probably different than what somebody else wants to smoke.
Right.
Because sitting down talking to Gilly, I want heavy myrcene. And what is it, linalool in mine? Because those two terpenes right there, they help me relax. I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to get me a good night's sleep, and I want to wake up feeling good. So it's all about, for me, that part of it. But it might be something different for somebody else. So that's why we're trying to get as much feedback as we possibly can.
Right. Now, with your strand, do you have what is it? Indica, sativa.
We got all the strands. We got the hybrids. We got the indica, and we got the sativa. Yeah. Okay. We got something for everybody, man. We had like our first launch. We had like 9 different strands.
Hey, so
we're trying to touch everybody.
We got a link, and I got to get some samples for the podcast for the guests, man. They definitely gonna give.
Oh yeah, man. We can make that happen. You in Jersey too? We can make that happen. Hey Joe, I know you probably listen. Go ahead and hook my man up, man.
Yeah. Look, I need some merch too, because I know you got some merch, right?
Yeah, we got you, man. We got you covered.
So my next question is basically, are you on like a dispensary tour right now? Is it like, because I know it just launched on the 13th. So where are the next cities you going to? Like, what's the plan?
Well, the plan is right now. Okay, we got 30 days exclusive with Indigo.
Right.
So when that's up, then we're gonna start going to other dispensaries, man. We got some dispensaries lined up, man.
Right.
You know, we're just trying to figure out what we're doing next. But we got some guys lined up, and we're trying to figure out the next move. Okay. And we're gonna start having some things at different dispensaries. We're gonna do some meet and greets at different dispensaries.
Right.
Because I believe in boots on the ground. We're gonna try to, be at places, meet people, meet Eagles fans, and sell some good weed.
Right, man. So listen, man, I appreciate you tapping in with You Better Not Lie podcast. Tell the fans where they can follow you at, and how they can find this strand, online.
Well, first of all, it's at Indigo Dispensaries in Brooklawn, New Jersey. You can follow me on Instagram at _bigfella_53 on Instagram. And, on social media, you can follow me on Twitter, the same thing, the Big Fella, know. So, and then if you want, you can listen to me every day from 10 to 2 on 94 WIP. Sit there, we chop it up every day, me and my man Joe Giglio. I ain't hard to find.
Right. So you outside for real, huh?
I'm not, well, if my daughter's up in here, I ain't really outside, but you know what I mean?
I'm trying online.
Yeah, I'm online. I'm online. Yeah.
Yeah. But listen, man, I appreciate you such short notice, man. I know you're a very busy man, and I thank you for taking the time out of your day to tap in with You Better Not Lie podcast. And I'm going to make sure we chop the clips up, put them on Instagram, and we're going to help get Cannabis 5-3 out there to let people know it exists. And they
appreciate you, brother.
Guys, so we can build this awareness, all right?
Appreciate you, brother. Much love, much love.
Much love, legend.
Thanks, bro.
Y'all be safe.